Good morning, students. Today we are going to see a sonnet. Sonnet 116. It was written by William Shakespeare, a great dramatist. William Shakespeare is not only a great dramatist, he is a great poet too. This poem, Sonnet 116, is a great evocation to love poetry even today. Even today, it stands as one of the best evocations of love poetry. Era. It was called as Elizabethan era because Queen Elizabeth I ruled England at that time. The time period was 1558 to 1603. It was called as Golden Age in English history. The reason was that arts flourished at that time, theatres flourished, business, poetry, and everything had shined like anything. Our poet, dramatist, and the great writer Shakespeare, he lived during that period. Students, if we look at the biography of Shakespeare, we could comprehend that Shakespeare was the world's greatest playwright. Shakespeare is the world's greatest playwright, and Shakespeare will be the world's greatest playwright. And this greatest playwright, he had contributed a lot to poetry too. Born in Stratford-upon-Avon as the son of tenant farmer, he had contributed numerous things to English and English language. He had contributed nearly 1,700 words to English language and more than 100 phrases to the language. His books are translated into 50 languages. He is known as the Bard of Avon even today, and he had died in 1616. Students, Shakespeare had written 37 plays and 154 sonnets, two long narrative poems. According to his critics, his notable contributions are The Merchant of Venice, Henry V, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Much Ado About Nothing, and whatnot. See, this varies as per the critic. But according to us, Shakespeare's comedies and tragedies and historical plays stands in our mind for both its theme and its narration, for its characterization, and for the language, most of all. Students, we had a brief biography of Shakespeare. Coming to the sonnet, Petrarch was known as the father of the sonnet. And the sonnet form was introduced to England by two people known as Wyatt and Surrey. And before the usage of sonnet by Shakespeare, the sonnet was known to England men as a little song. According to them, sonnet means little song. But Shakespeare had brought a fixed form to it. He had made the sonnet into a 14-line poem. He had used iambic pentameter. So from that time onwards, English sonnet was known as Shakespearean sonnet. Now, people know two types of sonnet majorly. One is Petrarchan, another one is Shakespearean, though you have few other sonnet forms. Students, if we look at the structure of these two sonnets, that is Petrarchan sonnet and Shakespearean sonnet, we could understand that while octave and sestet is followed in Petrarchan sonnet, three quatrains and rhyming couplet is being followed in Shakespearean sonnet. If you look at the rhyme scheme in both the sonnet, while Petrarchan follows AB, BA, AB, BA, CDE, CDE, Shakespearean sonnet follows AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. See, these two things segregate the Petrarchan sonnet and the Shakespearean sonnet to the viewers. But still, both of them are being used by almost many poets in the world even today. Students, if we look at the total number of sonnets written by Shakespeare, we could understand that Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets in total. While the first 126 is addressed to an young youth, the rest of them is addressed to a dark lady. Apart from that, he had written two long narrative poems known as Venus and Adonis, and the second one is The Rape of Lucrece. Generally, it is said that Shakespeare had dedicated all his sonnets to Master W.H. But till now, we couldn't just comprehend the identity of Master W.H. Let me read the first two lines of the first quatrain. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Shakespeare says that, let me not admit impediments. Impediments means obstacles. He is not ready to admit any obstacles if it is true love. He strongly says that when true minds are just involved in a union which leads to marriage, definitely there will not be any obstacles, says Shakespeare. According to him, love is not love when it alters, when it changes as per the situation, when it bends or yields itself, when it is removed or changed by a remover due to the circumstances. If it is a strong love, if it is a true love, if it is an eternal love, if true minds are involved in that, then definitely there will not be any impediments for that true love, says Shakespeare in his first quatrain. Let us just go for the second quatrain. In the second quatrain, he says, oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. You just see the starting line, oh no, I'm not ready to admit any impediments for true love. Why? The reason is that it is a fixed one. It is as strengthened as a fixed mark. What is that mark? A lighthouse. Where is it? In the sea. Why is it? It just guides the sailors and the travelers. Even if tempest comes, it is there in a strong manner. That looks on tempest and is never shaken. Even tempest cannot shaken it. How? Because it is fixed over there. In the same manner, if it is a true love, then even impediments cannot change it. If we go to the next two lines, it is the star to every wandering bark. If people sail into the sea, what happens? They need some guidance. So there will be a pole star which guides them always whenever they travel. Today we have GPS, but in the past what happened? They used to just move from a place, from a country to other country by having this pole star as a guidance. The height of that pole star is wondered by so many people. But what about the worth? Only people, those who are traveling, they know the importance of that star. Only travelers and sailors who experience, they know the strengthening of that ever fixed mark, that is lighthouse. Only they know the worth of that star. See, he is telling one object which is not at all moving and another object which is moving. So such a beautiful metaphor is being used here. A true comparison he is making. He is comparing true love with a lighthouse, with an ever fixed mark. And he is comparing love with a star. So this is what Shakespeare says in the second quatrain. When you just move to the third quatrain, he is just telling, love is not time's fool. My dear students, Shakespeare says, love is not time's fool. So people used to think that like time, no, it can change everything. But Shakespeare introduces the third quatrain saying that love is not time's fool. Let me read the line. Love is not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Who is having a sickle here? Time is having a sickle. What is a sickle? Sickle used to cut grasses. It is so sharp. It may reduce the external beauty of the lovers, external beauty of men and women. It can cut down that external beauty, but it cannot cut the love inside them, says Shakespeare. So time can make anyone and everyone a fool by just destroying everything, but it cannot destroy the true love which is inside the lovers. If there is a union of true minds, Shakespeare says, time cannot just change it. So what will happen? That brief hours and weeks, no, they will just take away the external appearance, but not the true love. Let me read the second part of the just third quadrant. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. Shakespeare says, you may take few hours and weeks, you may take few things from the lovers, but, oh dear time, you cannot just remove the love in them. That true love will exist till the last day, till the doomsday, till the judgment's day, says Shakespeare. So this is what he says in the third quadrant. My dear students, let me recollect. In the first quadrant, he says there won't be any impediment for true love. In the second quadrant, he just compares it with the pole star and lighthouse. In the third quadrant, he is making time, no, like as a important thing. He says that an important thing like time cannot just do anything if it just tries to do something in the hands of love. You imagine what a great man is this person. When you just go to the final couplet, what is that final couplet? We just wait to see that. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never read, nor no man ever loved. See what a posing he is making. People used to say this as a hyperbole. It may be a hyperbole, but Shakespeare says, if this be an error, if somebody is ready to prove whatever I have said in the three quadrants as error, if they are ready to prove that, then let me stop my writing, because I know for sure that they cannot prove it. If they prove that as wrong, what is the meaning? This world is not having any lovers. But, oh dear students, oh dear men, the world had so many lovers. The world is having so many lovers. The world will be having so many people, those who are joining, no, with the true minds. So, Shakespeare says, this cannot be proved as wrong. If this be proved as an error, then he says, let him stop his writing and let him say to the whole world that no man had ever loved. There won't be any lover in this world. If people are going to say that this is wrong, if people are going to prove this as wrong, says Shakespeare. See, here he celebrates love. This poem is an embodiment of love. That's why it is considered as one of the best evocations of poetry till today. Students, if you just look at the structure, it is written in the form of a sonnet. Sonnet is a 14-line poetry. It follows Shakespearean type of sonnet. What is Shakespearean sonnet type? It has three quatrains and a couplet. Shakespeare has written 154 sonnets totally, and in that he has addressed 126 sonnets to a fair youth and the rest of the sonnets to a dark lady. This poetry is following a particular rhyme scheme known as ABAB, CDCD, EFEF, GG. If you see few examples from the poetry, we can have mind spines, love remove, mark bark, shaken taken, cheeks weeks, come doom, proved loud. What figure of speech is used here? Metaphor and hyperbole is used here. My dear students, because of the structure, because of the theme, this poem stands as one of the best evocations of poetry till today. Thank you, students. Thank you.